Thank you, Glenn. Governor Murphy, First Lady Tammy Murphy, my colleague Senator Booker, to all of the distinguished guests, family and friends, most importantly of those who have been taken from us. It's an honor for my wife Nadine and I to be here with you at the Empty Skies Memorial on this most solemn day of remembrance. And faith to you and all of those at the Memorial Foundation who keep the flame alive. Our gratitude for what you do. Thank you so much. 20 years ago on this day, we lost nearly 3,000 Americans that we will always remember, and bore witness to courage we will never forget. 20 years later, we come again to remember those who perished on September 11th, to show solidarity with the families who grieve for them, and to renew our pledge to never forget. The morning of September 11th of 2001 started out like any other day in America. It was very much a day like today. Parents fed their children breakfast. They saw them off to school. Travelers hurried to airports and boarded their flights. Workers slipped on their dress shoes and straightened their neckties. Others donned uniforms and pinned on badges. But what began as a day like any other quickly became a day like no other. At 8:47 a.m., terror struck our nation and our lives forever changed. Smoke billowed out of the World Trade Center, turning the sky from blue to gray. And across the Hudson, New Jerseyans gathered and consoled each other as they watched the Twin Towers fall. Further south, a deadly fire raged at the Pentagon, and in Pennsylvania, a plane carrying American heroes left the giant crater in an idyllic country field. And while the attacks occurred across the river in New Jersey, we felt the loss of 750 loved ones of our own. To all of the family members here today who lost a mother or father, a son or daughter, a spouse, sibling, or loved one in those horrific acts of terror, I know there is no way to quantify the grief that still you carry in your hearts. You've carried that pain for 20 years. 20 years of missed anniversaries, birthdays, graduations, holidays, 20 years without those everyday moments that we all take for granted. There is no way to put into words the constant ache of grief in your heart. Time may have a way of dulling pain, of softening the sharp edges, but there is no truly way to mend that which is broken. 20 years seems like an impossible amount of time to live without someone you loved. And although their physical presence is gone, their love never leaves. Over the last 2 decades, many of our 9/11 survivors and families have turned their grief and turned it into action. And it has been an honor to stand with you and to fight for you in Washington. Your grief and sorrow were felt in the halls of Congress. Your advocacy guided our efforts to fully implement the recommendations of the 9/11 Commission so that we could better protect our homeland and our people from future terror and tragedy. It was you who helped us write the Sadroga Act, named for New Jersey's own officer, James Sadroga, whose exposure to toxic fumes at Ground Zero led to the illness that took his life. And indeed, through that law and our continuing funding of it, we have to continue to stand by the first responders who now face devastating challenges, health challenges, as a result of their selflessness, and the family of those heroes who are no longer with us. Likewise, we continue to stand with you in your fight for accountability and justice. Earlier this summer, several 9/11 family survivors joined me in Washington as I introduced the September 11th Transparency Act, legislation directing the federal government to conduct a declassification review of documents that could provide us with more information about the terrorists who struck us on September 11th. You made your voices heard loud and clear. And just days ago, we learned that our message reached the White House and President Biden. His executive order calling for a review of these documents and a declassification of them mirrors the very legislation we crafted together with you. Believe me when I say this would never have happened without your determination and your resilience. Your advocacy in the name of your loved ones is remarkable. And while we stand in awe of your efforts, we know there is no amount of bills signed or into law or executive actions that will lessen or dampen your pain. 20 years ago, after the September 11th attacks, we came together in solidarity to once again say that we will never forget. We will never forget the people we lost. We will never forget the heroic Americans who then, faced with the unimaginable, did the extraordinary. Firefighters and police officers who climbed smoke-filled stairwells in the hopes of saving lives. Pentagon personnel who re-entered a burning building to rescue colleagues from the flame. Passengers on Flight 93 who spent their final moments fighting back, and in doing so saved countless lives in our nation's capital, including my own. It is these stories that shone as rays of hope during the anguished days that followed. We also remember how the events of 9/11 dramatically changed America's relationship with the world, and now how we protect the security of our country. In the aftermath of September 11th, men and women across America signed up to defend us in distant lands. For them, we learned about patriotism and sacrifice. Thousands of them gave their lives while serving in the war on terror, including the 13 service members who gave the ultimate sacrifice last month while evacuating Americans and allies from Afghanistan. I know that Governor Murphy, Senator Booker, and I just recently visited nearly 9,000 Afghans who are in freedom at Joint Base McGuire, Dix, and Lakehurst. They're there at Liberty Village because of the sacrifice of those who worked to get them out. So we will never be able to bring back what we lost on September 11th of 2001. But as we remember those taken from us, we have to remember the way we came together as Americans in the days that followed. I'll never forget the spirit of unity that brought us together in the wake of such evil. I'll always remember the morning of September 12th, when members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, gathered on the Capitol steps to sing, "God Bless America." As we raised our voices, we didn't do so as Democrats or Republicans. We did so as Americans, united in common cause against a common threat. Back home in New Jersey, we showed the world what it is to be Jersey strong. We turned Hoboken, Jersey City, and other communities throughout our state into staging grounds for relief and recovery efforts. Thousands lined up to give blood, make donations, bring food to firehouses, pray together, and comfort each other. So today, I ask all of us to do what we can to restore and renew that spirit of unity that we felt the days that followed. It shouldn't take an act of terror to bring us all together. Our nation faces myriad challenges today, from a global pandemic to climate change to the proliferation of terror and extremism around the world, and so much more. Yet all too often, when we desperately need unity, we constantly find division. I truly believe if we can harness the unity and renew the compassion we felt for each other in the aftermath of 9/11, there is nothing that we as Americans cannot overcome or achieve. Despite all that was taken from us, I still see a country bound together by love for family, pride in one's work, solace in our diverse faiths, and unwavering commitment to freedom. These are the common threads that bind us together as a people and that brought us closer in the aftermath of September 11th. These are the values that united us and gave us the strength to overcome terror and show our enemies that the American people never give in to fear. And they are the values that empower all of us to go on living while cherishing the memories of those that have been taken from us. May those we lost on 9/11 forever live in our hearts. May the heroism we witnessed on that day inspire us for generations to come. And may the humanity and decency that united us 20 years ago to give us the wisdom and resolve we need to overcome the challenges of today, and together build a better tomorrow as a legacy to all of those who lost their lives. May God bless those who lost their lives. May they bless their families, and may they bless these United States of America. Thank you very much.